Yo, what is up, everybody? You know who it is. It's the dad bod god himself, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight, today, wherever you are tuning in, wherever you are tuning in on, whether it be Twitch, YouTube, or any podcast platform, where enjoyed to have you here for another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. And I'm joined by my guest this evening, Mr. Bin Hamin, the El Jefe of the Hamin Media Group. This guy is one of the busiest guys I know, man. He's a professional wrestler, podcaster, comedian, almost knocking my fucking keyboard over, and improviser as well. So I'm really excited to have Bin back on again. And he's also a mentor of mine as well. So it's always a pleasure to have someone who you look up to coming on your show to be a guest on your product. But we are brought to you by MWA Podcast Network. We are pretty much the number one place to go to for all your wrestling media. We've got shows with ECW Original, The Kingpin, Angel Medina, former WCW and TNA star Alan Kwee Funk, and also indie legends, the Dead Presidents, Boogaloo and Lowrider. So make sure you check out all of the content we got going on 7 days a week. But guys, just want to take a quick pause to thank some of our sponsors and help us keep the lights on up in this bitch. First up is healthvape.com. Now, healthvape.com are your healthy vaping alternative, guys. All of their products are no nicotine, no addictive or harmful chemicals in them, and they're actually vitamin infused, guys. So you know what, if you're a smoker, you're a vapor, you're one of those guys that have just make one of these things that you can't see because it's in my hand, but if you're a vapor, you want to take a healthier lifestyle, go to healthvape.com, use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount on your final purchase. But guys, also make sure you check out sleefs.com. That's SLEEFS, sleefs.com. If you're an athlete or someone you know is an athlete, you need to check out Sleefs. They have armbands, they've got knee bands, knee pads, headbands, elbow pads, boots, mouth guards, helmets. They've got dirty fucking boxes, guys. You know what, guys? What way to spice up the bedroom with your partner and turn up in a pair of dirty boxes, because it's got a big fucking elephant trunk at the front. So, you know, that's always going to impress. But guys, check out sleeves.com. Use promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount. But guys, without further ado, without another second, here he is. I'm sure he's going to do his own introduction because only he can do it. The man, the myth, the legend, Bin Hamin.
Yes, y'all, MWA world, Piers Austin. You left so much off my resume: marketing expert, arms dealer, human trafficker, biological weapon maker. That's right, torture. I'm not your mentor. I was the one in Guantanamo who was waterboarding you all the time so you would get your shit together. Maybe you'll get in the gym and get the arms to go with that sleeveless shirt next. That'll be the best thing for you, infidels. But y'all, it's time to shoot the shit inside of your mouths and your minds. Infidel hacker Hamin has invaded MWA Podcast Network again. Y'all.
What an introduction, mate. Only you could do that. But Bin, thank you for coming back on, man. It's a pleasure to finally get you back on and shoot the shit again, man.
I'm proud of you, Piers. You've been doing such a great job holding down family and in the face of adversity in your country through all the propaganda, staying positive, providing content for hardcore Hamin Media Group members, Russo brand, MWA brand, growing all that stuff, doing great work with Angel and everything you guys started with wrestling with Tragedy, and now that's just gone from a single plant into a full forest of production and content. So that was the stupidest fucking thing you ever could have done with your life.
Tell me about it, man. I think I've got, in the last year, I've got more gray hairs in my beard than ever before, man. And it's but you know what? It's worth every minute because, you know, like you establish like, you know, good relationships and friendships, you know, with people like yourself, like Stevie, you know, Vince and everyone else associated with those platforms.
Sure.
And you know, and it's good to sort of support everyone and see how everyone's going, man. Like even you guys, man, Hamin Media Group, you guys are just keep growing and blowing up and getting bigger and bigger, man.
Well, blowing up is what I do, infidels. You've seen my work many places, tearing down many buildings, even ones that don't get hit by planes that just happen to implode by themselves. But yeah, man, no, it's it always starts out as a labor of love, and then unfortunately money kind of always fucks up everything that's pure to some degree. So we try and not think about that side of things too much and provide value to our diehards and loyals in the face of constant censorship in the internet landscape, you know, and even when we're just talking about wrestling, I mean, we talk about daily things and have to deal with it just for the ridiculousness. But the community we've built together internationally is unbelievable, especially the Australian contingent. Yesterday I had Jimmy T on, Jimmy Samelis. I don't want to botch his last name too bad, but I don't care. He's an infidel, so I'll do what I want. But he's been great. He filled in yesterday to light the fuse, and I think he might be dealing with AEW Rampage for us. And that Australian contingent is just a diehard fan base, very interactive, very cool guys and girls all the time, and funny, very funny. You know, just always having a different outlook on some things, and a very aware to what's going on New World Order wise. So it's great to, the best will always find each other. I'm a very big proponent of that, whatever your tribe and your circle is, and you just got to keep pushing for it. But it's so crazy how for decades before technology took over, how it was like Australia might have been the Wizard of Oz, you know what I mean? It might as well have been going to Oz, and maybe American culture was just something that you saw on TV and commercials. But to be able to interact with each other every day now and be what seems like you're my next door neighbor, you know? So it's an incredible time to be alive, to be able to connect with people that were strangers, and using the internet for what it should have been for things like this, you know? So I'm always pumped to work with you guys. And I just, it's still, maybe that's me showing my age, but just to have so many people from Canada to UK to New Zealand and Australia checking in, to my guys in Lebanon, you know what I mean? Like every day I'm talking to people globally, and that's not lost on me how awesome that is.
Oh, 100%, man. And that's the thing. Like, I look at, you know, relationships formed, like even with Angel, you know, like when I met him almost 2 years ago, I was just some fucking wrestling market, just wanted to interview wrestlers, and you know, I mean, formed a friendship with him. And, you know, now someone who I've never met on a face-to-face level, who is someone I consider, you know, one of my closest, you know, people that I can confide in, and vice versa, you know. So I think it's definitely been, you know, a good way with these sort of networking things as well, is to be able to put out good content with people that have similar mindsets and have that similar drive as well.
Absolutely. We're all just looking for our tribe and common ground, and wrestling provides it. Conspiracy provides it for Stevie and the Horsemen and I. And, you know, I only met Russo once face to face, Stevie maybe 3 or 4 times, but we all became friends and business partners via common connection and teleconference, man. So it's just a brave new world that, you know, we had thought about in the 80s. Will we ever get there with Dick Tracy watches and shit? And here we are. And what do we use it for? To dance on TikTok and look up titties on Pornhub. I mean, that's
but it's so true though, man. Like some of the, like, you know, before we were in lockdown, you'd walk through a shopping center and you're seeing like teenagers doing like TikTok dances in the middle of a shopping. Bro, back in the day, there was no way in the world we would do dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
it was because we didn't have a instant taste of celebrity. Someone can go viral, and people can work their whole careers to become a great musician or a shitty musician who gets over, or an actor just to have your name known just a little bit, or a wrestler and your name known just a little bit. Now any asshole in Ohio can go out, like you said, do a flash mob or whatever they want to do, walk up some milk crates and fall on their fucking ass, and be more known in 2 minutes than someone who's put in 20 years worth of work. It's a crazy, crazy time of demassified. I mean, Andy Warhol defined it best. I mean, what a vision of everyone having their own 15 minutes of fame. And that's really where we are. And now it's even less than 15 minutes. All you have to do is catch me outside. How about that on Maury? And that this bitch is now making $1 million on OnlyFans. You know, like it's a crazy, crazy, crazy time of hustling, and maybe the downfall of our civil society into smaller bites. But it's what we're doing right now, man. It's how we're making our living, making our money, and that's where our people are.
It's actually funny. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it's like, could you imagine like people that are in their like mid to early 20s right now, in like 50 years time, they're sitting there with their grandchildren. It's like, so how did you find grandma? Well, I was searching through OnlyFans, and her tits were bouncing out, and they were the most beautiful things I'd ever seen, darling. So I hit her up, and I paid her $10 a month.
We're putting. It's interesting. I forget the name of it off the top of my head already. Utopia, I believe, and I believe it was a UK show before it came to America for Netflix and kind of got popular. Or is it Afterlife? I can't remember. But it's a futurism, and when you die, you can either die and go in the ground, and if you're an atheist, do you believe that's the end, or if you believe there's some heaven, then supposedly you go there, but they don't show that part. Right before you die, you can make the choice to have your head cut off, like almost lasered off, and the consciousness in your brain gets digitized and you get put into a hard drive. Then your family can choose, on depending on what they pay on a subscription service, where that hard drive is put into. So if you just have mediocre, if let's say you're on welfare or what have you, you get to go to some weird dorm where you only get X amount of hours to be alive. But if you have money, you can go to this paradise painter's colony with all the food you ever wanted on a lake, and it's all digital. But your consciousness exists there until the time they can figure out how to put digital consciousness back into a new body. They're having trouble going back from digital to analog again, so we can keep living forever in some way. But that's where we're going. And a part of that in that show, to show futurism, kind of much like Idiocracy, was people are at their own funerals, digitized. Like, it became a whole thing of like, all right, there's your body. All the people are here mourning you. And then the digital version of you is there on a screen interacting with people just like you were if you were alive. And it becomes like a Facebook, Instagram event. How many people attended that type of shit? It also, sex tapes are a thing of pride. Like, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, check out my set. Like, when you go to talk to somebody to hit on them at the bar, you would show them the clips of your sex tapes, and it's not like anything that. How far? I mean, look at how far we've come in 30 years. How silly we thought doing a TikTok dance would be if you were in the 80s. No way would I ever do that. Now everybody and their grandma's doing it. That predictive programming and things like that, and kind of an idiocracy play. I've talked to funeral homes when I've been to a couple. I was like, during COVID, how to digitize for them, and that people could do it remotely. That's the biggest first step to what I'm talking about right here. Not this digitization of your consciousness, but it's coming. All that's pre-programmed shit, and it'll be interesting, man. I wouldn't mind living in a digital realm of magic afterwards, if I believe once your eyes close, that's all there is. It's pretty interesting concepts of futurism.
But it's like, what was that show? They did like a series of shows, but every episode was different. I'm trying to remember it, but they had
Swan.
Black Swan, was it?
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, it's all. There's one that I really liked on that, where people get on a treadmill bike, and they power the whole city through their treadmill stuff, but that's all they do until they're selected to then go on a show that's like America's Got Talent or the singer. And you accrue enough points to get on that show to then become famous out of nowhere. 15 minutes of fame. There's so many like social media weird things that are going to take over, man. It's a crazy time.
But you know what? I saw one of the episodes with that, and they had like a social media thing where people could like interact and either give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Yeah. And it's like, if you got too below a certain social rating, they put you in prison.
I think that's on the Orville. I don't know if you know the show The Orville. It's kind of like a comedy Star Trek from the guy who he made Family Guy.
Okay,
whatever. But there's one episode on that where a planet that they go to is all social media, and any infraction that you do, you have a social media score that's ever upping and downing.
Yeah.
And he did something like pissed on a statue or what have you, and everybody starts taping him, and all of a sudden his social media score drops, and that's how they judge you in a kangaroo court. He had to go on all the morning talk shows and do the apology rounds, and when he didn't do the apology the right way, his score went down further. You can be killed if your score goes below a certain whatever society. Like that's the Chinese credit system, that's a system of social media credit score that's going to replace your actual credit score soon. Of what does his account look like? Is he posting salacious things? Is he posting the things we market? It's just insane the amount of tracking that goes on when you hit yes, I accept those cookies. Well, you got to take a big bite for Big Brother after that, man.
Dude, it's even like someone was telling me like they're going to work on technology to put a chip inside your arm so you can just walk past and scan shit and like pay for stuff. And
the first Whole Foods store just opened with Amazon Pay with its biometric scans your handprint, bro. There's no checkout workers, no nothing. You're just your fake money that's in an account somewhere that's just a number that's ever changing, not real cash, based on the work that you do, is then tied to your biometrics. And all you have to do is, these aren't the droids you're looking for, hand swipe. And fucking, because they love that Jedi shit to make you feel a certain way. But now they've got not just what you're buying, your biometrics, how it's affecting you, everything, bro. We give up so much personal privacy and information for the illusion of convenience.
And you know what? That's like my wife told me about the chip thing in the arm, and I've just gone, if that happens, we're going off the grid. I'm done. Like I said, we'll sell our house, buy a farm, and just catch and kill our own.
It won't need to be a chip, the mark of the beast, when they chip cards and they do they created card culture, then they put chips in cards, and now they want to take that nanotechnology, and it may already be there. I mean, nanobots are tiny, and you wouldn't even know if you have them in you already, per se. But why is there a need to do that when they can just convert what you already are, a walking, as they would say, battery in the Matrix, but you're really a computer with all types of genetic DNA imprinted code on you that makes you specific. If they can get that code, now they can just use that. That's all that the chip would be for a tracking device. Shit, if we can get that off you organically, of your skin flakes, your pupil dilation, and the marks on your hand, we don't need no fucking digital chip implant. We just go with it that way.
Fuck, man.
And that start happening from the moment a baby is taken out of a mother's womb to death, like very soon, probably by 2028, as they push more of this biological wallet, I guess you would call it, tied to you. It'll start at day one of conception, or not conception, of inception into the world, I guess. You know what I mean? So
it's a crazy fucking, like, technology is so wild, dude. Like, I can remember back in like 2001, I worked in a mobile phone store, and one of these reps from the Nokia or one of them came in and was like, "Oh, dude, in about a year's time, 2 years time, they're going to release this phone. You're going to be able to video call someone with it on your mobile phone, take photos, and have colored screens." And I looked at this guy, I go, "You're a fucking lying, like, you're on drugs. Get the fuck out." And then
here we are, man.
21, bro. You know what I mean? Here we are, the world of technology, where, everyone in the world on social media has a voice, which is probably the greatest thing, but it's probably the worst thing as well, because then every motherfucker's got an opinion and a voice.
Yeah, I don't mind that as much as it's easy to fucking tune people out who, I try not to sell nearly as much as I used to and get older for strangers I don't know who have an opinion that is nothing that's going to affect me aside from getting me angry online real quick. I can easily get by that. But the way it's used to bring us together is, I love the technology era that we came in. Though the problem is you and I are from the last generation X, maybe some generation Yers. I don't consider generation Z or generation useless able to do this. Anybody born 9/11 and post 9/11 is not going to understand, unless their parents really put it to them in their country, born and raised, is how to chop. I use this phrase a lot: chop wood, carry water. we're one of the last generations that you go ride your bike for fun, that, you know, TV goes off, that that you go use your imagination, that you don't need some digital device to entertain you, and that you know how to work hard doing manual labor so you then appreciate working smart. This generation raised on an iPad does not know that. They only know this is the babysitter, I need to be entertained, and I need some digital form of entertainment. Can't do it for themselves. You're taking away that ability, and also the ability to go, fuck, this hard work in the blazing sun carrying wood, chopping wood, or shoveling blacktop, or shoving dingoes off the fucking side of the road, you know, as roadkill. If you're not doing that in your experience, you won't ever appreciate working smart and making your money working smart. You have to build work ethic with jobs that you don't want to do. And now, I don't know how it is there in America or in Australia, but here in America, dude, you can go down any street in America, and I don't care if it's McDonald's, the paint store, the pharmacy, whatever, every single one of them has help wanted on the outside, outside of their signs. And they can't find anybody to even do the most menial, simple jobs at double the rate they were paying only a year ago. Dude, minimum wage went from like $8 to $10 in America to $17, $18, bro.
Whoa, that's massive.
You still can't get teenagers or people looking for a second gig to fill these jobs at, you know, the burrito place or what have you, man. It's unbelievable right now, the lack of work ethic and the amount of money that they're offering, where I'm here scratching for every dime we earn, creating entertainment. And some months are better than others, but I'm going, fuck, I could go to Moe's and make burritos for fucking 2 days a week and probably pay off my fucking mortgage extra. You know what I mean? It's just, but nobody wants them. So this space we're in right now, with the coming of age of these 20-year-olds out of college who are highly intelligent, have zero work ethic, bro, have no idea what it means to work hard, to appreciate what working smart does for you. And that's a very dangerous thing, because in 20 years, when we're done and we're in the retirement game or headed towards that, if we live that long, then all of them are going to be the ones taking over. And that last 1800s, you know, do it for yourself mentality is going to be gone. And they're going to be completely dependent babies as adults on the system. And that's when universal basic income comes in, and they've been wanting to push that forever and starting to push it through now. That's when more of a communist society, because it's all going to be social. I want, I need, but you don't know how to do any of the shit for yourself. So you're going to run to mommy and daddy, which is the most corrupt government and corporations that they set it up that way. They know that they want it that way.
But, you know, like, it's interesting when you said, like, about kids and the iPads and stuff like that, and young people and technology, because, like, you know, as you know, I got like 3 kids, and the 2 older ones, the 5-year-old and the 3-year-old, every 5 minutes, can I have the iPad? Can I have the iPad? No. Why not? Because, you know what I mean? No, but even then, if they have too much time on front of that thing and I go, hey, time to get off.
Sure.
Bro, not like meltdown city. And then it's just like tantrums and shit. And I'm talking like, bro, like if I acted like that to my dad back when I was like my son's age, ass whooping time, bro. Like,
I'm not telling you to beat your kids, but beat your fucking kids, bro. Like, I'm here. Like, that's the thing. Our generation, what we're guilty of is you know, like 80s, you got your heads fucking smashed or whatever. And like that came up from the 50s, 60s, 70s. And then they're like, oh, you can't beat your children. It'll do constant irreparable damage. Well, if the offense is that egregious, so should the hand across the side of your face or your ass be, so it reinforces to never do that again and put a little healthy fear back into you. Just to take something away and take away their dopamine hit of iPad, because that's what's given to them. Not to say there's not great things that they're learning on the internet. There absolutely is.
Of course.
But when you take away that electric light and that goes away, that's like any heroin addict who can't get their fucking shot. You know what I mean? Like, it's the exact same body, even though it's more mental than it is physical. It's definitely the same reaction. When's the last time they had to go and pick up? I'm just dating myself. I don't know what the toys are now, but G.I. Joes, I used to sit there for hours, and it probably made me a better actor when I was like, I don't know, 6 to 10 years old. I would do the voices of everybody and have these epic battles and make these little forts and play all day and lose myself in my imagination. How often are they? That's a muscle, man. That's a huge, you know, even though your brain's an organ or what have you, like that muscle, that reflexes get stronger and stronger over time and help me become the creative that I am today. How often are they going and escaping into their own imagination? I think less and less and less. And that's really what makes me saddest about all this type of stuff, because out of imagination and somebody's original ideas come the things that change the world. If we start dumbing that down, which we more than have, and then we do it with Ritalin, whatever, ADD, Lexapros, and all that type of shit, now you're really hurting society and the future that we could have through a brilliant mind.
And that's the thing, dude. Like, my wife is a primary school teacher, and she like knows that too much of that technology shit is bad. So she'll go and play. Like, but if I'm home, like on the weekends, outside, let's go. You're gonna go get dirty. You're gonna go play in the mud. You're gonna push each other over. It's just all part of growing up and just being out and getting your immune system up. Because, man, like, that's the thing. When like you look back at different generations, we were never inside the house. You know what I mean? Like, barely. You know, and
you get your ass kicked because you were a loud little kid and your parents couldn't stand you. They wanted your ass outside. Now everybody's like, it's like being in the cradle all the time till you're 16, 17 years old and get your license. It's about like the comfort of home. They're never going to want to leave, bro. Especially when they got to find a way to pay their own bills so they can keep their internet addiction alive, but they don't want to work and do anything, dude. It's crazy, right? It's crazy that 8-year-olds can make $1 million on YouTube reviewing Legos and shit like that. It's just such a upside down time of work ethic. I'm not saying that the making videos and shit isn't hard and time consuming, but people don't know the value of $1 because of how conveniently they've been given everything the last 20 years, man.
Oh, exactly, man. And I think that that's probably just been a change in society when everything's grown, all these different, you know, I don't want to sort of speak bad about mental illness, but there's been these different types of things that came up. It's like, even I speak to, you know, my uncle, he's like, back in the 60s, we didn't have diabetes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and he's like, we didn't need all these medications and shit back in the 60s, man. Like, when we needed to, like, you know, mellow out for a weekend, we grab a 6-pack of beer and an ounce of weed and like head home for and sit and watch the footy all weekend. You know?
Well, that was also making your own food. Was there 68 different fucking fast food options for your fat ass to go eat some processed fucking food that was fried in grease? No. There might have been the shake place and you know what I mean, down in the burger joint, but that was about it. And now we have instant gratification in 4 minutes from the time you order. You can be shoving some fucking fat meat-based product into your mouth and moving on down the road and then not exercising outside. That's why. And then also our government selling out to the corn culture and high fructose corn syrup and everything. And now you have minorities and not even minorities, majorities, white, black, whatever, at morbid obesity points never before seen. People walking around looking like fucking Jabba the Hutt, like every third one. Used to be in the 80s, you might see one really big fat guy and you'd be like, wow, that big bastard. Out of 10. Now it's 9 out of 10. You look at these NFL tapes on the weekend, these guys don't even look like men anymore. They just are just like big walking bathtub stomachs. They're just fucking morbidly obese and they all want to act like they're still fucking Greek god shoot fighters or some shit when they can barely tie their own sneakers, bro. And that's because everything that and our generation is most guilty of this, Generation X, of being addicted to the marketing and the mass of fast food and the instant gratification that came with the drive-through window, bro. And now the guilt of being a big fat fucker who doesn't exercise or eat right, you don't have to have that stigma because we don't want to make you feel bad. We'll bring the shit right to you on DoorDash for an extra $20. You can get all the Big Macs to shove in your fat fucking mouth, and nobody has to see what a pig you are by going outside and trying to get in the fucking car and come to see us. So that now you're not even a piece of cattle that's going to the trough to eat with everybody else. That's what I call places like Moe's or Subway. Yeah. When you're eating in a trough that everybody else eats from. It's the same fucking thing on any farm. Now you can stay right in the barn and they'll come and bring you your fucking food. Hey, pigs get killed, hogs get slaughtered. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. they're just, they don't care. They, as much as they act like they care about you, if they did, they wouldn't be hand delivering you a death fucking sandwich like that, bro.
You know, it's funny, like McDonald's a few years ago put out this thing that said, no, we are not healthy. We are not this. Like the CEO of McDonald's Australia did all this. But also, we don't recommend you eat us fucking come and eat from our menu 7 days a week, multiple times a day, because that will kill you. You know what I mean? Like and then I was like, what a random ad for like a company to go and promote, because they're basically going out there and saying, hey, come and eat our shit. We'll eventually kill you.
Well, the only reason why would they do that is because they're probably being threatened with a class action lawsuit for false advertising on things. And it was not something they wanted to do, but coming out with that type of statement is a get out of jail card for them that does PR damage quickly and then moves right along. So they can then go, see, we told the people that this shit wasn't the best for them, and they can't bend them over a barrel. I worked at McDonald's headquarters in Springfield, Illinois, and it's a insane place corporate culture wise, bro. Very culty, very different than anything I've ever really worked at. It was an interesting experience being there for about 6 weeks.
The corporate world, man, that's more political than the wrestling business sometimes.
It's not as they want it to be cutthroat, but when they're dealing with workers, because I did it before I was in wrestling and then after. And once I went back after and saw how they tried to work people and make them fearful, I would just laugh because I was like, you can't even fuck with what I just came from, bro. Like, you guys are elementary schoolers compared to the wrestling locker room. So it was a lot easier for me after I started wrestling to deal with any of that shit. And it's all just, you know, self-serving bullshit that in the corporate world, you got to stay and see that person the next day. In wrestling, we just go on, well, see you down the road, brother. You know what I mean? The heat passes. So interesting, though.
Oh, absolutely, man. But, you know, like with the wrestling sort of side of stuff, man, like, you know, you've started coming back doing a couple of shows now. You had a bit of time off and, you know, you've just started to really come back doing a couple of spots, man. How's the body been holding up, getting back into it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been on Stevie Richards Fitness through program throughout the pandemic, and my shoulder was real bad, bro. Like my left one, I really worked the left side mainly, but I had taken a lot of shoot, reverse, hit the post, you know?
Yeah.
And my shoulder had popped out maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it never healed right. And really being rested and doing Stevie's fitness bands has rehabbed it to a point where I never thought to be back again. So I feel really good. I'm down about 25 pounds and moving better. And I feel stronger than I have at 44 years old than I have previously. I say that I just feel good. Had 2 matches since we've been back that I mean, we've had more than 2, probably about 5, but 2 singles matches, main events, and one this weekend. I mean, I've gone from manager to working in tags to now being a main event singles guy, which is a different spot for me to be in, with the guys who are more athletic and younger than me. And I was on the bike doing 45 minutes, and I was like, you know, really sweating, feeling good. I was like, all right, my wind's up. I'll be able to handle it. I got in there 5 minutes in, bro. My tongue was hanging out, spitting. I'm all blown up. I'm like, fuck. So I went back to boxing. I like this YouTube channel called Precision Striking. The guy does virtual pad workouts and stuff, and it takes your favorite boxer and breaks down all their combos. So I'll do that for 45 minutes, and I'm on my toes, bouncing, moving, doing footwork, and I'll sweat just as much, if not more, than what the bike is. But then I got in the ring this past week, and we were 12, 15 minutes in, and I was doing well. I won't say I was great, but you know, the difference in that workout of how I do my cardio as I get older makes all the difference in the world. And Rick Recon's going to find that out this weekend in Immortal Championship Wrestling when I bury him once and for all. So it'll be a good time working singles, but because I like it, like anybody in this biz, the spotlight, but I like working with all my tag partners too, whether it's Blaze Ram, GGP, or Congo Kong, or the Conspiracy Horsemen, man. I like that because it's less bumps, but I took 5 big bumps in the last match last weekend, 9/11 big show. And
yeah,
aside from the rock bottom that led into the stunner at the end, I bumped on my hip. So it was kind of my own fault. I've been feeling that all week, but yeah, I've definitely felt worse than I do right now going into a lot of big shows, 2CW at the end of the month it's a 5-year reunion from when we closed down. And it had gotten canceled twice because I said so in COVID era. But I mean, huge show. Sammy Callahan's in the house, Darlington Castle, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, Thunder Rosa, Mercedes Martinez,
Jeez, what a lineup.
Enzo and Cass. I mean, there's tons of and then the Young Bucks will probably be there unannounced. Because they're in the Northeast and they're the final 2CW tag champs. I wouldn't doubt if the entire elite is there, to be honest with you, backstage at that show. So these shows coming up are more than indie shows. These are 2CW is like possibly the best indie that ever existed, to be honest with you. So it'll be a big weekend at the end of the month, and that's what we're all working for. The show's called Older, Fatter, Balder, but I was doing my best to not be fatter. I'm definitely older and balder though.
So are you booking the show, or are you just performing on the 2CW show?
I after 2CW went out of business, the territory was big in New York, in central New York. It got chopped up between a bunch of smaller indie feds, and I try and do my best to pay respect to 2CW's legacy. I help with the booking at Immortal Championship Wrestling, which I'll be working Rick Recon at this weekend. Yeah, it'll be good with Ryback and Teddy Long. Big show there too. But I'm
gonna be there for that, I think.
Who is? I'm sorry.
Kiwi.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he said he's got a Teddy Long thing coming up. So
okay, cool. But you know, when it comes to sorry, I lost my train of thought. The original question on 2CW or the indies.
You're booking for 2CW now.
Yeah. So with 2CW, I'm kind of more of the brain trust. The owner Josh is a brilliant mind. Strangler Steve King, who I'm sure you're familiar with from Wednesday Locker Room at Hamin Media Group, was kind of like his producer second in command, who would do the running while he's overseeing it all. Myself and a couple other guys on the show, and the head of the ring crew guy. You know, that's our inner circle of dudes who know what's going on, who've been lifelong fans, who know how to get characters made and over. And Josh, at the end of the day, is going to do what he wants to, but he keeps top minds around him to say, hey, what about this? And then he doesn't tell you what he's going to do. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing on this show, and we're only 13 days away. So I just know that show up, bring your A game, and we make magic happen there with that rabid kind of ECW fan base. That's the holdover. It's a different show than anything else I've ever worked. And the moments are just going to be one after the other of, oh my God, moments on these shows. Cause that's what Josh does. We do dream booking better than anybody in history. And I'm looking forward to it, man. But it'll be 2 wild nights, the 30th and October 1st, no doubt.
Damn, man, I wish I could attend. It sounds like it's going to be an action-packed card, bro. But you know, as far as like indie bookings go at the moment now, do you have like, you know, how do you like approach when you go to a company and they pitch you an idea and say, this is what we want you to do tonight, and you just think it's absolutely fucking retarded? Like, or are you more selective now of who you like accept bookings from?
I guess not, because I got booked twice in August at a pretty high rate on shows that had way overbooked cards, bro. I mean, like, this one guy must have spent 10 grand on bringing guys in just for a fucking battle royal. I'm talking Rock and Roll Express, the Ascension, Tony Atlas, Mark Henry was going to be like one after the other, like so many people. And like when you see that as an indie worker and the guy who's doing a one-off show, yeah, you want to be on it and make your money because they're probably going to pay you more because they're paying those guys. So that like if you up your rate, you're like, I'm only going to up it at 50 or $100. They'll pay it because they're paying them. They do. They say they're gonna. Then the show gets canceled because they don't have the money to put in the accounts of the big superstar draws to give them their half up front or their plane tickets. And they had all these grand ideas of doing a fucking WWE Legends Super Show and shit. And maybe 1 out of 5 times those fucking actually happened and come off. So I lost a fair amount of money in August because 3 of those shows got canceled. But the indies I work for locally, or even, I've just flown out to Indiana, or I go up to Canada when that was still open. Great companies to work for in the area, even though they're a bit smaller, they do care and they want to put on a great show for their crowd. So I've been lucky to have, I'm a little bit different. Obviously I don't want to be like I'm different and special, but my heat is built in. So nobody's really going to come to me with anything that's crazy and be like, we want you to do this. And in fact, most people don't come to me with a storyline idea. I either kind of fit in to help somebody else's business that's already going, or everything I do, I've been fortunate to have director and ownership of, and I try and tie, no matter where I go, my storyline through all the companies I work for. I'm not a baby at one place and a heel at another, like, average wrestler B might be. When my music hits and the ISIS flag comes out, it's go time. But then there's spots where, people I grew up around who know me locally will love me because they can't believe what I'm doing, or because I'm such a top like character heel that even though they boo me, they're really loving me that much more. And I'll take that because I need that to sell merch. But when they come up and tell me, or if they're trying to say something or cheer me while I'm coming out, I'll heel on them right there, and they love that more. They want to get fucking tongue lashed and torn down while they're doing this type, we're not worthy, and bow before me and shit like that. And I'll just stand, yes, the infidel is crushed. Look at him. This is what the rest of you should be doing. That's right. I'll have him out in the diamond field soon. Like, say yes to what they're doing, but then put the heat on them, bro. They just want to be acknowledged. So for me, I want to take it as far as I can without bringing a gun to the ring, because that's stupid, but because only bad things are going to happen. But I want to trigger the PTSD and the conspiracy and the comedy, because the best comedy is in the darkest moments of reality. That's when the best comedy arises. And there's been 20 years of dark moments, from police brutality, school shootings, weapons of mass destruction, terror attacks, false flag attacks, lies from your government. Like, all I have to do is say the truths that people swallow, and then 2 years later are exposed as complete lies and propaganda. I just have to go back and pluck that heartstring and say weapons of mass destruction, World Trade Center 7, anthrax letters, Sandy Hook, gas prices. I just have to say those words. And if I say, yes, gas prices, instant, they hate me. Who wants to go to the pump and pay 40% more than what they paid last year? Because in gas prices is a level of Biden and Democrat hatred that doesn't need to be said. I just have to say gas prices and it triggers them.
But how would you, like, you're looking at the indies now, and Game Changer Wrestling is probably one of the most well publicized, independent wrestlings in the States at the moment. What do you think, like, would you compare them to what ECW was years ago, or do you get any equivalence to that, do you think? Or do you think there is stuff missing there?
Not even close. So shout out to GCW. I'd love to work for them and bring them to that ECW level. I like what they've done with Matt. I mean, Nick Gage and those guys with the deathmatch stuff is one thing. That's not my bag of tricks, but that's Baskin Robbins 31 flavors. However, they have the woke SJW audience and a lot of that on their roster as well. And I like a wide variety of characters. I think gay characters are great to have for empowerment or comedy, but what I don't like is if you don't support this, we will try and cancel you and make you feel a certain way. Why? We're supposed to be the mirror of what society is with the volume turned up on it, you know? Mm-hmm. So if there's homophobia and people going against homosexual stuff and them feeding that, where in America we have story time at libraries with drag queens as they try and slide that into middle America, you know, like it's all right to have the other character calls that out and is an ignorant redneck. And if you really play the subtext to the highest level, that redneck character that would be the antithesis of a flamboyantly gay character, you can make that character climb the mountain, and at the top of the mountain is understanding and friendship, where they find common ground and one needs the other. Or maybe the redneck character was a closet homosexual the whole time and he comes out at the end and does that type of shit, you know what I mean? Maybe it was self-loathing, but we have to build that. It seems in GCW and other feds, it's like gay character, you're in, boom, and it does. There's no, what story are we telling? You know what I mean? What are we trying to work on our audience? It's just more of like, wrestling's for everybody. No, it's not. No, it's not. And people who can't handle the high level discussions and making a character that's going to do something behind the scenes, as opposed to just going, I'm gay and I'm here and like it or not. Like, that don't mean shit to me, bro. I grew up in the fucking theater. A lot of times I was the only straight guy in the entire cast. So to see flamboyant gay wrestlers walking around doing look at me backstage and queening out, I'm like, to me, that's like if I was to go backstage and just be humming, yes, my match was the greatest in the locker room. None of you morons can beat that. Like, the locker room would look at me and go, what the fuck is this Mark doing, dude? But if you were to say that to someone who's doing a super effeminate gay thing, boy, your ass is on fire and torched out of that locker room, right? So I'm not saying that about all of GCW. I know Effie and those guys and a lot of good people work from there. And at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters in this mafia. But GCW and things like that are the forced version of crowd response for the woke culture that wishes it was 2CW, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and ECW. It's kind of like not a mockumentary version of it, but it's not the authentic and real thing. Are those people having fun and whatnot? Yeah. But just like NXT with the fight forever and all that shit, where you might as well have an applause sign up there that gets hit to condition them to say some dumb shit. They're really not in the moment. They're just trying to be a part of the show to make it look underground and make it look like this is where the smart marks hang. And hey, it's working because we're talking about GCW as a top indie, and they very well may be. But in my opinion, the top of the indies isn't 50% of what it was 7-8 years ago, you know? So a lot of that fanfare of people putting shit over doesn't mean shit to me. And I'd like to work for like SWE in Texas. I haven't really worked that Southwestern territory yet, but yeah. And they had the big vision of we're on TV and everyone's buzzing and talking. Then yesterday they put out, and this was a bad look, like a 9-paragraph diatribe of something against Hannibal. I don't know what the heat is with them and all this bullshit. And yes, we've made mistakes and what he said, and they're going back and forth in a fucking thread. I'm like, dude, this is not the professional look. So everybody who says they're up here and we're at the top of the indies will, like, as soon as the dam breaks and the first wave of fucking fear or bad shit comes, they get exposed as amateur and not really knowing how to do this shit. 2CW will go up and punch WWE in the eye and fucking wait for the cease and desist to come. Everything that 2CW did was a fuck you to the world and the marks of wrestling, to poke fun at them or give them an oh my god moment. That why isn't Terry Funk versus Kevin Steen happening in Ring of Honor? No, it has to happen in 2CW. Okay, you know, why isn't Rob Van Dam versus Sami Callihan happening anywhere else. Oh, you want to run it on a Monday night? Okay, we'll do that too. Like that's how we come back in the industry, as opposed to look how brave we are because we have 4 gay wrestlers on our roster. Dalton Castle went from a mid-card average looking utility guy, one of the best you'd want on your roster to get anybody over, could have a 20-minute technical match that was a banger. And then, you know what? He goes, this isn't really getting me anywhere. Had a gold lame jumpsuit made. We put the boys with him with the mask. That was the start of Dalton Castle in 2CW starting to change and become whatever. He invests more into his gimmick, struts around like a peacock, stops and turns his head and looks. No more wrestling. No more fucking German suplexes, belly to back, off the... Dude, all he has to do is duck one, turn, and stare at you, and the crowd goes fucking nuts. That's working, bro. And, even though he is a highly effeminate character, that's the kind of character. He's not out there espousing, like, being woke. He's just like, I'm going to do my job better than anybody else is going to do. And if you're into it, you're into it. If it creeps you out, so be it. Or if it gives you a boner, then I helped you. Whatever it is.
You know what? Dalton Castle has been one, like, as soon as I seen that guy perform, like, I instantly just went, this guy is like just a step above what I'm seeing now in that. Like, Ring of Honor has some great talent, don't get me wrong, but that I was just like, this guy is just, there's something about that personality, that character.
Yeah.
That he should be a big star.
He could walk out right now on any show and everyone would know who he was. Maybe him and the Briscoe brothers are about the only guys over there, I think, that might have, and Danhausen, I think that, but Briscoes, hardcore rednecks, chicken farmers, don't give a fuck, some real chop wood, carry water motherfuckers. Dalton Castle, all about pomp and circumstance and old Greek mythology, kind of having the boys around, right?
Yeah.
And Danhausen is Svengoolie,
a guy that looks like he's had too many mushrooms.
Dude, and the most memorable people on the show. Now, talk to me about other luchas or high-flying athletic guys. That don't mean shit. Like, their names do not stand out in the company. All those spots and shit you want to do, sure, we still got to wrestle to some degree, but those 4 guys I just named are the ones that stand out above everybody else for character reasons.
Oh, 100%. And, like, we see, like, there's a guy, a wrestler here in Australia, and there's a lot of similarities I see with him and Dalton Castle. Mm-hmm. And, like, he comes out, and I've had him on the show, and I've asked, I said, his character is, like, comes out to, I will survive. And the chant he gets is Rick South for the boys. He comes out with lipstick and stuff like that. And I said, what is it that your character is trying to perceive? Because I said, as soon as that bell rings, you are a badass motherfucker. And, you're a big, strong dude. You beat motherfuckers down. Looks absolutely amazing. You have banger matches. But the character, like, how's it? He goes, it is what it is. He goes, I don't say that my character's anything, any sexuality or whatever. You can make your own opinions about it.
Sure.
And he said people can think whatever they want, but I'll fuck them up in the ring. And that was his. I was just like, well put.
That's interesting. A strong shooter, powered, androgynous, sexually, kind of place to go, as opposed to playing the effeminate and I'm scared or whatever. You know what I mean? Or I'm trying to seduce you. That's a great choice to have in there, man. I'm sure he gets reaction because before the fight, it's about the character, and if we have them there, then they're going to come along with us for the physical.
Well, dude, they had a pretty much a year build during COVID for him and the main match here in Australia. And then it was pretty much like the whole build, his opponent doesn't cut promos, doesn't speak. So for almost a year, he's cut promos, built this thing up by himself. So then the big match happens. The whole place was just like ridiculously on fire for, an indie show, essentially, because that's what it is
Sure.
here, so I'd never seen a reaction like that live at a show like that. And it was like, fuck.
Welcome to what a year build can do for you. If you put in the time and you make that trip up the mountain, when you hit the summit, it's a sweet, sweet feeling. When you miss it, it sucks. And it happens more. Usually you're going to miss because of whatever indie circumstances or somebody gets hurt or whatever monkey wrench gets thrown into it. But when you can take care of your own business, which I've been fortunate to do for a lot of companies that I work for, then it is a sweet feeling when you can, especially working with younger talent who haven't felt that, and you get to show them what long-term business can really do. And your crowd loves you that much more for taking them on a storyline. So every detail is important, even if you think, oh, they saw it in that time, but these people aren't going to know shit. There might be one person, two people who know that crossover, who's followed it. And if you play to the height of your intelligence and take care of the details, the new crowd might not get it, but those two who've been following it, it will mean everything to them. And that is what having integrity as a character and playing out your storyline is, instead of just doing the same old shtick over. And you might use your stuff over and over again. I'm not saying don't, especially if it works, but always be putting a little bit of fresh twist on it, and they'll love you for it.
Oh, absolutely, man. But how you been? Have you been enjoying any of the wrestling that we've been seeing on mainstream television at the moment?
To be honest with you, in the last 4 weeks, I have been. And after 6-7 years of being a fucking curmudgeon bastard, because the product has just gone where they don't care about it. You know, you can go back and listen to our conversation with Fox and whatnot, where they're like, we're looking for positive solutions. Oh yeah, how'd that work out for you? You lost 2 million more. And but now SmackDown is hitting, dude, almost every segment in the last 3 weeks has hit very well, character progression wise, on every level. I look at everything kind of through a Sopranos lens, and every lower mid card, and upper mid card and main event all had great storylines that are believable. And when you have that, then the improviser in me thinks of the third beat in the Herald, where these worlds will collide in a Venn diagram, even if they just intersect for a second. In that middle sweet spot, what can happen where your world is doing something in my storyline that are usually not related, will have some need for each other, and then the crowd that has been following both, well, maybe one might be 5 weeks, one might be 5 months, they can kind of see it coming. And then when they go, wouldn't it be cool if, and then you give them that moment of like, wow, those worlds crossed over. You can even add a third world in there as a catalyst, you know what I mean, to knock things in a certain motion. That shit to me is the best, you know, that like when you can get to that point and operate where there are no small there are no small roles, only small actors, you know. So every detail is important. I do see the chat. Appreciate you guys being in here with us on YouTube and Twitch. Shout out to Alan Funk himself liking that $5 face slap challenge, as we just made it to $55 face slaps, man. I see a lowrider in the house too, man.
Yeah, man. How did you come up with a $5 face slap gimmick, bro? Because it's like, I love seeing, I love seeing like some of these people at wrestling shows, like just standing there, like with this big goofy smile, handing you $5. You just slap the piss out of them.
It is crazy, man. I just want, before I go on to that real quick, I just want to say Raw has been trash. It sucks so hard for 3 hours. I don't know how there's such a disconnect from SmackDown working and then them ripping up the script at 6 p.m. for Raw. But the Big E moment was great. I thought nobody does a big moment like that. They could have made a couple other choices, but it was so solid. And then AEW this week was the best Dynamite episode since they've started, as a full roller coaster ride, as a full 2 hours of an experience, as opposed to, I'm going to steal the show tonight, boys, and get my shit in. And then the rest of the show suffers because of it. That show this week was an entire experience. And I was floored at how good it was, because it went from amateur hour to something where I'm going, am I writing this? Like, was this out of my own head? So, so really the last 3 weeks of wrestling have been awesome. The last 7 years, not so good. So, you know, I have had, and I want to review things positively. People are like, oh, you're a negative dick. I'm like, well, if they would give me something positive to speak about, I'd be happy to do it. So this week has kind of been a big baby face turn on the mic for wrestling commentary. $5 face slaps. We were in Binghamton at 2CW right at the end, and Eddie Edwards, Davey Richards were there. and this group of 4 or 5 fat ass marks were over with them at the end of the show with their shirts off and man titties out, and fucking Eddie and Davey are just fucking whack-ow, chop them across the chest, whap. And I'm going, holy fuck. These guys want to just be a part of the show at any cost, even if it's over, to say they got chopped by Eddie and Davey. So as a heel, I really shouldn't be out. And sometimes I don't go out depending on what my storyline is and where I am on the card. But for merch, it's hard for heels to sell merch to start with. And if I'm in a long-term program, whoever's fighting me should be selling Chinese-made USA flags that cost them 50 cents a piece, and they sell them for $3. But, I can't do that. So all I can do is try and get heat, and some smart marks might buy my 8x10s or my shirts or what have you. So when I saw that, I was like, I'm going to use this as a carnival barker thing. I'll be like, $5 face slap. Like people be walking with their kids. I go, I'll discipline your child for $5. They'll pick up all the dog shit off the lawn. No more picking your nose or wetting your bed. All of your homework will be done, and you'll be in bed early tonight. More on one $5 face slap. And the parents are like, yeah, slap this little fucker. But, and the kids like, no, Dad. They think it's funny, and that's the side of comedy, right? Like, and then the parents think it's funny, and I'll look right at the dad, and I'll go, how about you big fat infidel? I'll have you running a 5K. All of your hair will grow back, one $5 face slap, and your wife will finally be satisfied, so you can finally get it back up like you used to. And like, then the wife's laughing, and I go, yes, I can smell unsatisfied woman a mile away, sweetheart. I know you like a little slap and tickle. Why don't you get the whole family up here for $5? And will that family do it? Almost definitely no. Like, no family steps up and like slap my whole family. However, the tape trader, masturbator, 20 to 30, 40-year-old virgins that are around being entertained and watching that, nobody else can spit like I do it. I hate to Horowitz myself, but after 25 years of improv training and performance, you're not going to get over on me at merch. It's an extra experience of like, this guy says some wild shit, bro, And then when I come out and lose later, or I come out in my entrance later and get heat, they're like, fuck that guy of what he said to that little kid or what have you. But like I said, those 20 to 40-year-olds want to be a part of the show so bad, they will come up with their $5, lay it down, and it becomes a social experiment at that point of, are people that fucking desperate for attention and viral videos that they will pay a man to fucking legit. It ain't no pulled punch. When I lay it in, bro, you're getting.
I'm saying it, bro. It's like
yeah, like so when I do it in the ring later, my opponent, they know what's up. And a lot of people are like, I didn't think you were gonna hit me, or you hit me hard. I was like, fuck yeah, I hit you hard. I give you your money's worth. But dude, 50 marks have paid me to smash them across the fucking face. It ain't no bullshit. So
fuck that.
That just shows you how fucked up the human condition is, that they want just a little piece of you, a little piece of celebrity, man.
That's what. But you know what? There's no way in the world I would even want to get slapped by you, dude, because you're a big dude as well. So I'd be like, fuck that.
Yeah, 6'4", 257 as of yesterday. I might be 256 today. We'll see.
Jesus, man, that's absolutely wild. But we are just hit that 1 hour mark. You know what that time is? It is time for Guess the Aussie Slang, how it's going to go down. I'm going to use an Aussie slang word. I'm going to put in a phrase, a sentence, any way that we can. And Bin's going to tell me exactly what it means. Bin, you know the drill. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm Bush Ranger Bin, and I'm ready to answer all your Aussie questions. Oi, oi, oi.
All right, good to go. All right, first one is, look, the Jacks are out tonight.
The Jacks are out tonight. The Jacks are out tonight. I gotta believe that's either like a bunch of like jack off jerk dudes that are like walking around like some college assholes with their collars popped, or some deadly animal or bird or bug is out tonight and don't go outside.
No, it actually means police officers.
Oh, the Jacks.
Yeah. Oh. The Jacks. It's an old sort of like term that would be used, like probably like this generation wouldn't get it, but probably like our generation and back understand what Jax is.
I would say, well, I feel like I'm almost close there with a bunch of douchebags walking around outside with their collars popped. I think.
So the next one is bush.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna go for a walk out the bush.
Oh, that's easy for me, man. I'm an outdoorsman. I'm a woodsman. I know what it's like to be deep in the bush. I actually have my wife's garage, a couple big bushes, so I can go, chop them down.
Fair enough. Okay, another one is fucking crikey. Look at that, crikey.
Crikey, it's kind of like, oh my god, like holy shit, bro. Like, are you kidding me? I haven't seen some. Can you believe that 75-year-old lady's out there on the beach topless with those big old ninnies? Like, yeah, right? Like, crikey, man.
All right, here's another one.
I'm shocked. Am I right? Is it shocking?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So absolutely shock. So next one is fair dinkum. Are you fucking fair dinkum?
Are you fucking fair? Like that to me feels like, are you kidding me? But that could be like, asking a girl, is she 18 years old? Are you fair dinkum yet? Can I do a little dinkum on you? Is that what it is or no?
It means like, are you like honestly, like you being honest with me right now? Like
dinkum, bro, like fucking kidding me, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So all right, here's another one. Galah. Look at this fucking galah.
Galah.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, the way you laid it out there is like some asshole who is at the stoplight and the lights turn green, but he's still looking down at his phone or some shit like that, or he's about to cross the street looking at his phone into traffic. With this fucking galah over here, he doesn't even know where he is.
Yeah, it's basically a dumb cunt, like a stupid.
There you go.
Sorry. Okay, next one is hard yakka. Fucking hell, that was hard yakka.
Hard yakker. It sounds like a fucking something that was difficult to do, like pulling a stump out of the ground with a truck or something, and it's 100 degrees. But hard yakker also sounds like you drank too much and you might have puked and had a hard yakker in the morning. I'm not sure if that's what it is or not, but it seems like some type of tough task.
Hard yakker is hard work. So
hard work.
They're chopping wood, carrying water, as you would say.
Yeah, so. Baby, I'm a hard yakker then.
Okay. Now, next one is stoked. Fuck, I'm stoked about that. Stoked.
Yeah, that's an easy one. That's I think maybe crossed over from Australian skateboarders and whatnot to the X Games and the like. So if anybody hits a fucking 1080 or a McTwist, they're like, "Oh, I was so fucking stoked, man. That was like my best ride ever." So you're pumped up, or I'll come back to the curtain and I'm stoked of like at our match or the heat that we got.
All right, here's another one for you. Hey, Ben, make sure you stock the esky, all right, mate?
I stopped the esky?
Stock the esky.
Oh, stock the esky.
What's an esky?
I'm going to go refrigerator. Make sure the refrigerator's got a lot of beer in it, because I try and think what you guys like to shorten. So to me, esky would be Eskimo, and Eskimo's like cold shit, and the refrigerator's cold. So stock the esky. I'm going to go with fucking put beer in the fridge, you lazy bastard.
Close. It's like a cooler, like a yeah, like you put ice in it and drinks and shit like that. So
stock the esky. I'm with you.
Stock the esky. All right. So here's another one. Fucking Mozzie. The fucking Mozzies are out.
The fucking Mozzies are out.
And the Mozzies are out, and they've been sucking me all day.
Wow. Mozzie. Oh, first I thought we were going Islamophobic, and then you were against Muslim people. And there goes the Mozzies. That's what it sounded like to me. Which Mozzie. But now I'm gonna go again with it, and mosquitoes are out sucking blood. That's
absolutely it.
Nice.
Next one is,
because I thought it was Islamophobic until they said they've been sucking me all day. I was like, wow, that's a tough day at the mosque, going over there getting blowjobs at the mosque all day long.
All right, last one is Australia. Welcome to Australia, cunt. Australia.
Yeah, that's guys who didn't make it past 4th grade who think that their country is called Australia, but it's really Australia. Am I right on that?
100%. It's just the shortened term for Australia. But that's been shooting the shit uncensored. Ben Hamin, thank you for once again coming on, man. Like an hour talking to you just goes so quickly, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and thank you for giving up your time in your busy schedule at the moment. But where can everyone find you on social media and get some Bin Hamin merch?
Yeah, I'm easy to find, or I'll find you, Infidels, because I have geo tracking on all of your devices. But at bin_Hamin on Twitter, Hacker Hamin on Instagram. You can see plenty of $5 face slaps there. There's also Bin Hamin YouTube channel where I have promos, pieces of our back catalog library, my matches, 2CW, OVW, tons of wrestling throughout my career, not just myself, but stars that you want to see from WWE era before they were up there, man. And Young Bucks to AJ Styles to Ryback and more. So Bin Hamin on YouTube. Join us if you want hot inside news from the top pros, man. We're relaunching with Russo, but right now you can get our shows patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. I also try and make more personal videos, watch alongs, and get back to some cool stuff. Album reviews and all that type of shit, man, for hip hop. We also have a Hamin Media discussion group. If you're a high level wrestling, sports, and entertainment fan who isn't a complete mark and total dumbass, please join us on Facebook. It's just a great time where we do pick'em challenges, watch alongs, and you can interact with people from all over the world who are like minded like you, who've had enough of the bullshit and want some escapism and to have some laughs. So that's a great thing with a lot of community leaders and members that are on HMG staff. But if you want the merch, prowrestlingtees.com/Bin Hamin, or if you want the promo cut on anybody, your boss, your ex-wife, your stupid idiot kid who won't get off the iPad, go to cameo.com/Bin Hamin, and I'll gladly dress them down. So having a good time with that. And yeah, whoa, baby. Vince McMahon's in the house over at Russo TWC on Patreon, and we're having a good time with doing some improv there, ribbing the office, and it's just great, man. 7 days a week creating nonstop content for you based on entertainment and wrestling through HMG, Russo brand, and the MWA partnership, two-man power trip as well. We're all just working to put things out there. I'm having a good time working with the beautiful people, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky on their Patreon, Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat on his, Goldilocks, just phenomenal properties. And this week, the A Show, twitch.tv, the A Show, they had NWA champion Murdoch on, and then the next day, Mick Foley. So Hamin Media Group is just so happy to be plugged in with so many great creative minds and talents and producing content for you guys, so you don't have to go to those mark sheet writers who've never paid a due, never been in the ring, never been trained, but act like they're fucking experts and they just run their mouth because they got a stooge report. Stop paying for that shit. Our stuff is even less cost and 5 times the value. Those guys are nothing but liars and marks, and why the hell would you want to listen to somebody who's not a true professional? But HMG, we got them all, man. Stevie Richards, all the ex-workers are with us all the time, man, because that's the respect level we pay to it. Sometimes we talk tough, but it's only because we want our industry to get better and not sugarcoat it with a bunch of bullshit. So glad to be down under with all you bush rangers. It's Hacker Hamin doing it real big early in the morning here with my man Piers Austin. Real proud of you, Piers. You keep building, keep pushing yourself, and taking care of your family, Infidel.
Thank you very much, man. Huge shout out to our sponsors, guys. Healthvape.com. Use promo code MWAPod to get a 10% discount. And also check out Sleeps.com. Use promo code MWAPod to also get a 10% discount at your final purchase. But guys, we've got another show coming up in just under an hour. I'm going to be sitting down with Enzo Amore, or formerly known Enzo Amore. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be a hard-hitting question. There's going to be nothing left off the table. You'll definitely want to tune in for it. But guys, huge thanks to Bin Hamin. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. And ask
him for me who his favorite member of Wu-Tang Clan is.
I'm going to start with that.
Okay. I want to know. I always pop because he had the W tattoo on him. I'm a huge Wu fanatic, so I look forward to meeting Enzo for the first time at those 2 CW shows. I'm sure we'll have a good hip-hop conversation.
Absolutely, man. But guys, we'll catch you back very soon. And that, my friends, is a fucking shoot, kid.
YOLO.